Hi everyone, good afternoon from Vienna. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Making It in Austria. I'm your host, Adela Mejanic, and today I have a great pleasure to introduce you to my next guest, Kambis Kohansal. I will not try with the second name.
Don't worry, that's typical actually, because no one can pronounce it. I'm glad to be here, Adela. Thank you very much, and looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a very, very busy schedule, and I wanted to pick your brain on the startup scene here in Austria and Europe, if you want to talk about that as well. Kambis, let's start with a short introduction from your side. So, who's Kambis? What would you like to tell us to our viewers?
So my name is Kambis. I'm 33 years old. I have been like a serial entrepreneur myself, having co-founded different startup companies, different verticals, but very early stage. Later, I've like started investing in startups myself, and let's say beginning October last year, I've started like as the official head of startup services at the Wirtschaftskammer Österreich, which is the Austrian Federal Economic Chambers.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I represent all startups in Austria within the chambers, but also outside the chambers.
Mm-hmm.
As it's not anymore about like really entrepreneurship or being an entrepreneur. I mean, sure, I bring all the entrepreneurial like mindset I have into the like chambers, but the goal is to do policy making, the right policy making for startups in Austria.
Mm-hmm. So what makes you busy nowadays? So what is your priority number one or three priorities that you have for this year and the coming years?
So one thing is to be very present for founders, so I have give them the feeling, okay, there is someone there at the chambers who has like time for them and listens to their needs, to their wishes, to their expectations, works with them on their challenges, on their products, and so on. I think this is very important. How do you do this? You do this with meetups, with calling them, with like being available on all different like social media channels when they approach me. I think this is very important. So give them the feeling there is someone really interested in their like challenges and trying to solve them together with them. Okay, so that's one thing, very basic. The second thing is so to understand how the ecosystem in Austria works, what kind of like broader challenges do we have, and what kind of solutions do we need to improve this ecosystem. Is it about new political initiatives? Is it about like do we need to get more people from outside of Austria here into like our country? Do we change our like entrepreneurial mindset and all this stuff? So understand how the ecosystem works. I think this is also very important. And third, this goes more into the policy making side. So meaning people believe we need to change some stuff, then we can work on this, say, okay, we do some kind of political campaign and see reduce the taxes, just for instance. Okay, how do we do this? How would we conceptualize it? Who do we have to work with, to talk with, and all this stuff? So these are like three aspects I'm now pursuing and just started. Some things can be implemented earlier and some things take years. That's how it is.
And you have a team behind you, right?
So actually, I had discussions about this because the thing is, from outside, it looks like it's a one-man show right now. And somehow, yes, the let's say from an organizational perspective, I'm responsible for startup services. It's a new organizational unit here, a sub-unit actually. And sure, now it's on my own, but I am like trying to get more people on board, maybe hire this and this. This takes time. But what I also do is like access other teams, because the projects I have, the initiative I have is so much about innovation, digitization, and technology that I have a lot of projects and initiatives that relate to other teams as well. And so what we have is like a setup where we are have teams that are interdisciplinary and where I work with them. So for the different departments within the chambers. So it's not per se, I have a team of 10 people below me. This is something that could be possible in future, and I'm working on it. But now it's about interdisciplinary teams working with other departments to tackle specific challenges.
Kambis, how healthy is the startup scene in Austria? So before the pandemic, during the pandemic, so what do you see? What can be improved, and what's good and what can be improved?
So if we talk about healthy, it depends which perspective do we take. If you say, let's say, okay, we compare like the last 10 years and 5 years, there have been improvement, strong improvement in terms of the number of startups, the quality of startups, the number of investors, the number or the volume of investments and all this stuff. If you take this into consideration, when you then take or compare yourself with other ecosystems and the growth rate they have, then you can say, hey, we are growing. Yes, that's true, but not fast enough. Okay. So what do we need to do, for instance, to catch up with others, but even like be the front runners? So it's not about just catching up. It's about being the front runner. That's what I believe. And usually you have like factors or major factors that are like defining an ecosystem. One thing is the number of talent, the number of talent in terms of like tech development and all this stuff. And how can you do this? Either you have like really good entrepreneurship education within Austria. So it's about like the educational system to get enough people out of schools and universities who then can like set the next big thing, or you get it from outside. Like, let's say, okay, we need some recruiting processes to hire international talent very easily, very fast. Okay. So this is one thing. It's about talent. Okay. Then what we need are more role models in the startup ecosystem, founders, male, female, young, old, and so on, and show them, depict them, portray them, show them, okay, what is possible, because this is the way to get people really excited about, getting a founder yourself. I think that's very important. So about having enough role models and portraying them. This is more the communication or the communication and marketing side. Okay. Third, we need capital. That's it. We need capital. We need like enough people in Austria who invest into startups, but also we need to attract international investors investing much more into Austrian startups. Okay. So we need to set up like incentives, could be financially, tax incentives and all this stuff that like leverages investment in Austria and also like from like the international side. And number four, and the last thing, we need to have smart regulation, meaning because Austria is such a small market, if you're a startup, you don't come to Austria, you don't start in Austria because you have such a huge market. You don't have it. So we need to attract people from a different perspective because the regulation somehow fosters them and pushes them to become a founder, because then you're excited, you want to do this because it's such a cool setup here in terms of regulation, in terms of like taxes, in terms of legal, in terms of like finances, in terms of team and so on. So we need to really think about how can we have a regulatory system that promotes the foundation of more and more startups.
This reminds me of what Markus Rauning from Austrian Startup said, that he wants to make entrepreneurship popular as skiing in Austria.
So that's a good goal.
I remember him saying that a couple of years back, and he keeps repeating that. So it's well known in Austria. How many? Do you know, Kambis, how many foreigners actually are starting their businesses here? So do you have any statistic around that?
So I have a concrete number right in my head, but it's below 10%. Okay, I can tell you about it. So it's not a huge number. And when you think we have more than 2,000 startups in Austria, like if you define startups in a very like specific way, so with the technological component, and you say every year there are like 500, let's say, new startups. When you say below 10%, that's not so much. Okay. So we are still not attracting enough, international founders to come to Austria. It's not such a high number, and there are different reasons. The reasons I mentioned before, but the thing is, the easiest way to make someone start a company is like by reducing the barriers to start a company. Either whether it's like someone in Austria or someone who wants to come to Austria. Okay, the faster the processes, the easier to like found your company in Austria, the more founders you will have. Okay.
And how about you mentioned the investment, so the capital, and I read very often that especially the startups where women, female founders, they don't get that much investment, they don't get capital, they don't have the same access as our male colleagues. So do you see the same, or what's your view from the practice?
So this topic is not just about startups, it's an overall topic in the society. If you talk about the gender gap and all this stuff, this is not just to startup related, or founders, it's an overall topic. And sure, you can see this in the founder segment as well. Okay, that's how it is. Sure, if you have like more male dominated like investors, VCs and so on, they tend to invest more into like male investors. Not saying that they're like prejudices or so, but when you compare again also the quantitative side, sure, there are less female founders in Austria than male founders. Okay, so the thing is, one, okay, is there some kind of gender bias? And the second thing is, how can we, let's say, raise the number of female entrepreneurs? And I think the easiest way is to, again, by having the role models. You need to have the role models. We need to portray them and show them, and then step after step, you will reduce the amount of gender inequality. Okay, but this takes time. Okay, and it now it's taken for years and decades. But I think it will change. You know, it will change at some point, but it just takes time. So I think you need role models. I also think it's good to have like more female leads, you know, in specific positions, you know, when it comes to like even the startup or like specific like institutions or also on the investor side. I think this will push the topic. Okay, to be honest. What are then what kind of counter argument you usually then have is like, yeah, but then not the best ones like are on the top. This could be possible. Okay, this could be possible that then someone ends up like in a position where others might be better, but it's always not the case. Sometimes it's just bias, to be honest. But this is, I think, how we can do this: more role models, more proactive campaigns about it. Still, what I want to like prevent is some kind of like clash, you know, between like different genders also, or different cultures. So I think it should be more about like merging, okay, merging, inclusion. This is, in my opinion, how it works, okay, on a long-term basis and long-term basis, and also like more effectively.
One of the hats you have is the business angel, right? What does it mean? So can you tell us what does it mean to be a business angel, and how does one become a business angel?
I mean, let's say the differentiation between a typical business angel or business angelina with a standard investor is like the business angel contributes much more operationally to the startup and to the company than just a financial investor. Okay, so I invest usually money, but I also invest my time. I connect with the founders. I work with them on a regular basis, weekly, monthly. I support them. I'm an expanded part of the team. This is how like a business angel or angelina is like defined. Okay, I think that's very important. So it's not just about the money, but the amount of time you invest into the founders, and the more time you invest, the better for the team.
So I need to ask. So you're 33 and you're very successful. So you have founded some of your companies. So you have a great position nowadays. You're well known in the startup scene. How? Tell us your secrets. So what is it like? Of course, the hard work, you know, work hard, play later, no weekends. What's the secret?
So there is no secret sauce. Okay, there are just basic factors that determine like if someone can like become successful in the direction he or she wants. One thing I want to mention that's very important, it has also to do which kind of setup you are born and raised up. Okay, to be honest. So there are differences. You can't say, okay, everything is possible. Yeah, I believe it. Everything is possible. And it's, I also believe in, okay, you can reach everything, but it depends where you are born and where you live. Okay, you can't just think, okay, because it's here, it's everywhere the same. That's not the case. Okay, so you need to be true to yourself about it. Okay. Second, very standard, you need a lot of hard work. That's it. You need to work hard, really hard. Some work less, some work more, some work more successful, some work not so successful. For instance, I like working. This is how it defines me. I like working. For some, it's too much, but I like it. And because I like it, I work so much. And because I work so much, then it leads me to like one goal after another. So working hard, very like standard. Some can do with less work, some with more. Okay. But I think more you need to like working. And I mean it from an overall perspective, because some things I do, I like boring and I don't like it. And it's sometimes so difficult to do it, but it's part of it. Okay. But overall, you need to like working. third, you need to be ambitious. And the way I was raised up is like reaching, like, or going either like the extra mile, going more and more. This could, to some extent, this could be also negative, because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have the feeling it's enough. You know, if you don't never have the feeling it's enough, how can you enjoy it? So I think this is something I had to learn, that even the status quo could be good. Okay, you need to so accept that the status quo is good. Okay, actually there's some noise in the background, I hope it's okay. Okay,
It's
but
good.
that's how it is. So you need to be ambitious. You need to like reach from goal next to, from this goal to next goal, and so on. That's number three. Fourth, it's also about the people you surround yourself. Okay, so what helped me is like surrounding myself with people who push me more positively than negatively, who challenge me, but they give me a good feeling. If you're always working with people who don't give you a good feeling somehow, or you're always frustrated. So sometimes you need to change your setup, okay, with the people you're surrounding and working with, and really depict the people you're working with. Okay, that's very important. Once you do this, you grow a network and a network and a network that becomes bigger and bigger. That also again fosters you, that also like enlightens you. So it's also about the network we have. When I started in the startup ecosystem, I didn't have a network in the startup ecosystem, but over the years I set up a startup ecosystem because I work with people I like, and this is now benefiting me, you know. So it's also about the network you have, but sometimes you have to establish one. Okay, once you have all these factors together, so hard work, doing, liking what you do, at least overall, okay,
Yeah.
being ambitious and having the right people surrounding you, this could like boost your, like your success. And sometimes there are coincidences, and sometimes it's a bit of luck, but I think the more you do, the more like chances are created for you. That's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. As they say, luck follows the brave ones. So, as you said
Yeah,
yourself,
that's
you work, and then there's some luck, as you said. Um, you mentioned networking, and I want to go a little bit deeper on that topic. So, how do one person set up its network? So, what are your tips for that? You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, the startup scene. It can be in overall, especially for people coming from abroad. You know, it is like starting from zero. Where do you start from?
So you know, when I start discuss sometimes with other people about like networking, some take see it as from a negative side, but that's why I mentioned the network can boost you and you can boost your network. Okay, and I remember always like my father telling me it's so important in your life to have a good network that supports you, because this will create chances. And for me, for instance, networking is not fun. It's not like enjoying it or so, but it's part of the deal. It's part of your work, and it because the effect in the end is positive for you and for the business you have. So one thing is, for me, it's a work, and because of its work, I try to tackle this challenge. Okay, and this again boosts me to like go on with networking, you know, to create synergies with others and so on. That's one thing. The second thing is I like to connect people with each other, not just using my network, and even I told you like networking is not so fun for me. What I like is like connecting people. So you have this some kind of network like attitude, hey, connecting with people and see what comes out. Maybe it works, okay? And you will benefit in the end anyway, okay? Because if
Yeah.
those people are connecting with each other, you will benefit as well, because they're like very happy that they have been connected. So when you want to like set up your network, what I think, you need to be outgoing. Okay, online or physical, it doesn't matter. You need to be outgoing, and some people are more open to it and some are not. And I know a lot of people from outside, from like other countries coming to Austria, and they have the feeling it's very difficult to do some kind of networking. That's true, yeah. But again, it's like cold calling someone. If
Yeah.
you want to like do sales and you want to acquire someone by calling someone, some say fuck off, you know, and some say, hey, wow, very nice. So the thing is, you need to continue, and you can continue, and then the network will grow. Apart from that, there are already networks here in Austria, okay, particularly for startups. Huh? This could be like Startup Live, Austrian Startups, Entrepreneurship Avenue, then also the economic chambers themselves in each like county and so on. So there are networks which you can access. My suggestion is connect to these current networks with 2, 3, 4, and so on, and try to push forward. Okay, try to get into contact, and step after step, your own network will grow.
Mm. One of the tips that I got from other people that I interviewed as well when they moved to Austria was actively involving one or the other network that is available. Just like being active member of the community of their own choice, that helped them really, to get the visibility, to connect with the right people, and as well they feel good because they're contributing as well. So not passively waiting something for happen, but really actively involving.
Exactly, that's it.
Mentoring, one other topic. Do you have a mentor? Did you have mentors? How is your how are you around the network around mentoring?
So I wouldn't say that I have like this one mentor that was like supporting me like all the time. I had like several mentors, starting with the family, my parents, my sister, and all this stuff, and then with my work colleagues and partners, who helped me and I helped them. For me, every discussion, conversation I have with someone, either it's young or he or she is young or old or from a different cultural background, a founder, an employee, politician, I don't know, whatever, each conversation I have, even with you right now, and there's always something I can take out of the discussion for myself that improves me, that gives me some kind of progress. So this is the kind of mentoring I do and I get with connecting with all these different people and personalities who then enlighten, myself. This is the way of mentoring I get, and this is something I would also recommend to others. Having one specific mentor is great because you can build like a personal relationship, but think about like all the people out there. Okay, all of them have to share something, a story with you, okay, that can help you. So be very open-minded to this and try to get at least one point that is positive out of every discussion you have.
Before we wrap up, Kambis, so if one wants to start their own company, so what is the first place they need to go? Is it Wirtschaftskammer Österreich? Is it the Austrian startup? Is it female founders? You name it. Where do they knock the first doors?
So all of the places you mentioned are great, but sure, I'm the head of startup services at the Austrian Economic Chamber. So come to us, come to me, come to us, and we will support you. But also here, for me, I focus very strong on like connecting all these different stakeholders. So if I have the feeling that this network, either it's female founders, female factor, Austrian startups, Startup Life, hundreds of thousands networks that are out there, I also like try to build a bridge to this other network as well. But I think it's a good place to come to the economic chambers, whether it's to us, to me, like the startup services part, or like all of these like Landeskammern we have. If you're like in Tyrol, Styria, or Carinthia, and so on, this is a good way to go. But in the end, I will try to connect you with other networks too.
Good. So I will definitely.
And just another thing I wanted to mention. Also try to talk with other founders. Get into contact with other founders who have done the same. This is how you create again your network, by starting talking to other founders who have experience and can share the experience with you. That's also very good advice in my opinion.
Thanks. I will definitely link then your contact details as well as from the Austrian Chamber of Commerce as well, so that people can reach you out. Kambis, before we wrap up, what are you reading at the moment, and is there any book that you would like to recommend to our viewers? That's a must.
There are a lot of books. Right now I'm reading What If. I forgot the author, but he's like an ex-NASA guy, and a robotic scientific guy who gets so how did it start? He gets a lot of like questions by people, by friends and acquaintances who want to know like really screwy stuff. What does it mean if you like start like growing as a person and grow and grow and grow? What happens to you, for instance? So very strange questions that he tries to tackle from a scientific point of view. So What If? It's the book I'm reading right now. It's good. But if I can recommend one book, actually Nassim Taleb is one of the authors I really like. He's a mathematician and a former hedge fund manager who talks in his books about a lot of societal stuff. But the book I recommend is Skin in the Game, because this is about every decision you make needs to affect you directly as well, because then it will be a good decision. If you don't have any kind of risk, how can you make a good decision? And this is very or an integral part for like all the entrepreneurs out there, because every decision they make, okay, will have impact on their business as well. So Skin in the Game by Nassim Taleb.
Perfect. I will share it as well with our viewers. So thank you, Kambis, for being our guest today. It was a pleasure to have you, and I think we could talk for hours. Thank you for sharing your insights for our community, and we wish you lots of success in your new role. And I hope that we get more and more startups in Austria, that we boost the whole ecosystem.
Thank you very much, Adela. Thank you, community. Let's have a talk. Just contact me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you all for watching. So if you like this content, so just like, subscribe, comment, and if you have someone that you like to see as my next guest, just write me a comment below this video or send me a LinkedIn message. Always looking for inspiring guests. Thank you all, and have a great weekend.